Good morning, everyone. Good morning, BNI Arizona. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is on the online renewal process for members and leadership teams. This is a brand new functionality that was introduced just a couple of months ago here in BNI Connect, and it allows for the online through BNI Connect entry of renewals. A member can go in and they can put their renewal application in right online, so they don't have to fill out a piece of paper. They can also pay for their renewal online as well. Now, along with this process also comes the fact that leadership teams may review and also approve these applications online as well. So that's the process that we're going to be going over today, as well as all the different email notifications that happen during that period, and we'll be able to answer any questions that you might have about the process as well. A couple of housekeeping things before we get going. Today is a live presentation, so that means that if you have any questions at all as we're going through the process today, please do feel free to raise those questions. The best way to do that is by entering the question into the questions panel in the GoToWebinar software. So you'll see a place where you can type your question in. I'll see that pop up on my screen, and I can answer that question either right away or at the end of today's presentation. This webinar should be about 30 minutes, give or take, depending on how many questions are asked. That being said, I am happy to stay here until every single question is answered, and feel free to ask about anything in BNI Connect. That's what we're here for. This webinar is being recorded. It will be made available in a few different locations. I'll have the resources on a slide a little bit later. But one of those places will be the support site, which you can access by clicking on the question mark in BNI Connect, and also on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. So let's have a look at this online renewal process. Here's how the online renewals work. And again, this isn't all going to be PowerPoint. I'm going to show you how this actually works in BNI Connect as well. All right, so here's a general overview of how the process works. A member completes a renewal application, and there's a number of different ways that they can initiate that process in BNI Connect. Following that, the renewal does need to be approved. So the membership committee and the leadership team, they can review that application, review the members' participation, and then decide whether or not to approve or decline that application. And then, as always has been in the past, that application is forwarded to the regional office for to be reconciled. So in BNI Connect, let's take a look at this process from a member standpoint. So how does this look from a member? Now, there's actually 4 different ways in which a member can initiate a renewal. So one way is that they can click on the Renew Now link in the renewal reminder email. So 60 days before a renewal, a member gets an email saying, hey, by the way, you're coming up for renewal in 60 days. Would you like to start that process? This is what that renewal email actually looks like. Obviously, it would be filled out with that member's name. But you'll see a link here that says to renew now online. Please click this link. That will begin the renewal application process for that member, and the process begins. If they've been pre-approved, they also get an email with an opportunity also to click that Renew Now link. The second way is that they can click on the membership link on the regional website. So I'm not sure if this has been done yet on BNIArizona.com, but it can be a link on the website that says Renew Now, which will have them log into BNI Connect and start the renewal process there. Now, the third way that they can do this is that there'll be a Renew Now link on the home screen in BNI Connect, and I'll show you that in just a second. And the final way is that they can click the Renew Now button on the main profile tab of their membership record. So let's take a look at all of these different ways. So for this, I am going to use a couple of my test users that are up in Antarctica. So things might look slightly differently on the application than in the United States because we ask a couple of different questions in Antarctica. But let me log in as one of my members here. Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel is a member of my BRR chapter up in Antarctica. So let me log in as him. And when I log in as Harvey, what I'll see is a link here that says Renew Now. I can click that link and it will start the renewal process. The other way I can do this is if I go to my profile, I can go to Options, My Account, for example. And right here next to my membership status, I will see a button that says Renew. So now whether I click this or whether I click the Renew Now link on the home page, it will start the same thing. It'll bring me to the online renewal application. And here is the application. You can see that I can choose between 1 year and 2 years, and it changes the fee accordingly. And it then asks me a bunch of questions as part of the renewal process. I just need to answer those questions. Obviously, there will not be a question in Japanese on your renewal application in Arizona. Again, this is for testing purposes. During the renewal process, they'll also have the opportunity here to check and update their member details. Now, you'll notice that this also includes things like their industry and classification. Now, they will have the opportunity to, if they would like to, choose something else from here. However, that does not make it automatic. It still needs to be approved by the membership committee, the regional office. They'll also get notified that a change has been made if any of these ones with red asterisks and red pound signs get changed. Once they have completed the application, they do need to certify that they agree to the code of ethics and the policies, and then they can proceed to payment. Once they click Proceed to Payment, this application is now saved. So even if they close out of BNI Connect or they don't do the payment now or whatever else it might be, that application is now saved in BNI Connect and has been submitted. Here they can choose what type of payment. Now, if they're paying with an online credit card, they can choose an online credit card, and that will redirect them to the payment page for the credit card processor. Or they can choose an offline payment method. I think you'll also be accepting checks. Up in Antarctica, we only accept cash, and what we see here is it tells us what to do with that payment. And one thing that's very important to remember is that even if I do send my payment in, I do need to still click the Submit button in order to record that I have made this payment. And that way, this will notify the regional office that a payment is on the way and to be on the lookout for it, and record this payment type as part of my application. So I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. It will let me know that it has been successfully submitted and to await the decision. And really, as far as the application goes and the member, that is all there is to it. Laura has a question. She says, what is the add-on fee for? How do we explain that to our members? That does not exist in the United States. That is just a test thing up in Antarctica. So you don't have an add-on fee. Usually that's reserved for countries that might have another level of taxing or something else on their memberships. But we do not have that here in the United States, so you don't have to worry about explaining it. So does that help, Laura? Excellent. Okay, so pretty much that's it. From a membership standpoint, that is all they have to do. Click the Renew Now, fill out the application, and submit a payment. And again, it's important that even if they're doing an offline payment, that they do hit that Submit button to record that payment. All right, so again, just to review, the member completes the renewal application, they choose a payment, and there are notifications that are sent. So I'll go over all of the notifications a little bit later in the presentation. All right, if there's no other questions about the member part of the process, let's take a look at the leadership team part of the process. A couple of things to keep in mind is that every online renewal must be approved in BNI Connect. Every online renewal must be approved in BNI Connect online. There's three different ways that you can approve it can make an approval. It can be a full approval, a conditional approval, or you can actually deny a renewal as well. Regions can also, in your region, you will be allowed to pre-approve a membership. So that means before they've put in an application, you can pre-approve them so when they put their application in, it just goes straight through. Or you can approve it after they have made that application process. From a regional office standpoint, they can't finalize any of the renewals until it has been approved and a payment has been recorded. So let's take a look at how this works. From a pre-approval standpoint, again, that is before a member has submitted an application, again, the membership committee and the leadership team can pre-approve a member. There's two ways that they can do this. The first way is when they get the 90-day renewal reminder, they can pre-approve a member. There will be a link in the email that allows them to go and approve the member. The second way that a pre-approval can be done is through the membership dues report. So let's take a look at how that works. All right, so I'm logged in right now as Harvey Keitel, who's just a member, so I need to log out as Harvey, and I'm going to log in as one of my membership committee members. So we have, on my membership committee, I have a guy named Mike Jones. So let me log in as Mike Jones. And let's say I'm Mike and I'm on the membership committee. I need to go and I need to review some members that are upcoming for renewal. Now, the way I would do this is I'd go to the membership dues report. So for that, I go to Reports, Chapter, and I click on the membership dues report. Once I click Go, it will give me a list of all the members and what their renewal dates are. Now, everybody that is available to be reviewed has a little red head next to their name under Member Renewal. You can see here that Harvey Keitel, I can't pre-approve his membership because he's already pending renewal. But let's say that I have here Bob Jones. He hasn't input his application yet, but he is due for renewal on January 1st. I'd like to be able to give my opinion to the Vice President about his membership, so I can click on the little red head here. That will open up a new window, and it will give me all of his information. So it gives me his performance for the last 6 months. So I've seen he's been present 13 times, absent once, late twice. He's given 17 referrals total, $66,000, and thank you for closed business. I can also look at his training details. And from here, I can see that Bob Jones hasn't really attended any trainings. I can also review the rest of Bob's profile here. I can see he hasn't really filled out much of his profile or his bio information. I can see his connections. Nobody's given him any testimonials. So I might want to think about this and then let my vice president know whether or not I would like to go ahead and approve or decline this membership. Now, as a membership committee person, I don't have the ability to actually approve it. And there are no voting buttons or anything. My approval, my recommendations do need to be made by email or when I talk to my vice president. So let's log out again, and let's log in as the vice president and see what the vice president sees. So I'm going to sign out here as Mike Jones. Now, my vice president is a guy named Albert Camus. So let me log in as him. So for Albert here, Let me log in and go back to that report. We have an email, a question from Ian that says, why don't we have voting buttons? That would make it much slicker. And I agree with that. It would make it slicker. However, from a liability standpoint, having those votes registered in BNI Connect could be problematic in the long run. So we didn't want to make those votes become a permanent part of the membership record or become part of this legal application. It was much better to keep that outside of the system. Okay, so thank you, Ian. That was a very good question. All right, but I'm going to go back now to this membership dues report as my vice president, which is Albert Camus. And for Bob Jones, I'm going to go and review this again. Now, it's essentially the same screen. I still have the link to the training details and everything like that. But as a vice president, I can go in and say, I would like to pre-approve this member. So first thing I have to do is to check off the box that says, I certify that all of the performance reviews and discussions have taken place. This is your agreement that that has happened. You also have the option to notate whether this is a conditional approval and whether or not any control letters have been sent regarding this renewal to the member. Now, approval is conditional is a pretty loose term, I would say, as far as BNI Connect goes. In BNI Connect, all this is going to do is put a mark on their record saying it was a conditional approval. So that way that does become part of their historical record. However, what that actually means in your region will depend on how you would like to structure it. If you have a certain process for dealing with members that are on probation, or you have certain criteria for what makes a conditional approval, basically every region in BNI does that slightly differently, so please do talk with your director consultant or with your executive director in order to work out the process of defining what a conditional approval is. But after this is all set, I can go ahead and pre-approve. There is no way to pre-decline a member, however. So if I click pre-approve, Bob Jones is now pre-approved. Bob was just sent an email saying, congratulations, your leadership team has pre-approved your renewal. Would you like to renew now? And then they can start the renewal process. Or if at any point in the future, Bob goes in and he hits the renew now button, it will go straight through the renewal and it'll fly right up to the regional office at that point. And that's all there is to that part of it. That is the pre-approvals. Again, this is before somebody has submitted an application. Now, again, if I go back to Bob Jones and I click on this, I'll see that he has been pre-approved. And then I can work on my next pre-approvals if I need to. Now, there is no limit to how far out you can pre-approve somebody. It is done that way on purpose. So, for example, even here I have Rebecca Goodwin. She has a renewal in 2042. If I do try to pre-approve her, it will give me a warning saying that this is outside the normal time period for a renewal, but it will allow me to go ahead and renew it or pre-approve the renewal anyway. It's done that way specifically for people that want to renew early, especially in the case if and when BNI raises their rates, we raise our membership rates. Some people like to renew early to take advantage of the existing rate structure, so people can be pre-approved and run the renewals early as well. Ian says, if we pre-approve, does the member have to renew online, or can they give cash or check? They can do either at that point as well, so they can still do an online renewal, and that's obviously the preferred method. However, if they decide to do a paper renewal, that can still be processed by the regional office. So does that answer your question, Ian? All right, Kelly says, check only, please. All right, so that is the pre-approval process. Okay, there's also the post-approval process, meaning, for example, when Harvey Keitel, he's already submitted his application. Now we need to approve him after the fact. So let's take a look at how that works. So again, this was the pre-approval. The pre-approval is always done through the email link or through the membership dues report. Pre-approval, membership dues report. Now let's look at the post-approval, so after a renewal app is submitted. So there's two ways that you can do this as well. The first of which is on the application received email. So once an application has been received, you will get a notification saying that, congratulations, a new renewal has been received for the member's name, from which chapter they're in, and there is an option to approve that renewal. So you'll have a link in that email that allows you to go and approve that renewal. The second way is that there is the pending applications screen, and that will bring you to and show you all of the applications that are currently pending and the ability to approve them if necessary. So let's take a look at how that process works. All right, so I'm going to go back in and let me log in as I'm going to log in as my vice president again, as Albert Camus. And I can go to the pending application screen. Now this one's going to be located under operations. So operations chapter. I'm going to go to manage memberships, view pending applications. Now on the view pending applications, I can see Harvey Keitel. He paid cash and he has a renewal application submitted. It then gives me the opportunity to approve this. I click this button and essentially it brings me to the same screen as the pre-approval. All of the same information is here. Here's the difference. There's already an application attached to this that I can review. So with a pre-approval, we can really only review the statistics. Now I can review the application as well. If I click this PDF icon, I can then open a copy of the application. So I can see all of their answers to the questions. So how they responded to each of the different questions and the payment type. Once I've done this, I can make my decision. I can certify that I've discussed this, and I can either approve or decline the application. So if I approve this application, it will be sent to the regional office. They can then confirm the payment, that they've received the check and everything like that. A decline will show up as a decline on their record. However, it will just notify the regional office and your other leadership team members and director consultants that a decline has been registered. A decline does not automatically drop the member, nor does it notify the member that they've been declined. You need to notify the member on a one-to-one basis. It's also important to know that a decline does have the opportunity to be reversed by the regional office if necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and approve Harvey Keitel here. Looks like he was a pretty decent member. And now we can see his status is approved. I can hit the back button to go back to the pending applications. I can see that the status is now approved. Once the regional office has processed this, it will no longer appear in the pending applications screen. If I need to review the renewal or anything, I can click on those links also. So just to review, the membership committee reviews the renewal application and member performance. They need to then have a conversation with the vice president. Then the leadership team member actually does the recording of the approval, whether it's conditional or not, or if it's a decline. And finally, the region reviews that and can reconcile the payment, and if necessary, they can overturn a declined renewal. All right, I did mention that there is a whole bunch of email notifications that happen. So let's take a look at all the different notifications going on and who gets what. So prior to a renewal taking place, there's 4 different emails that could potentially go out. The first of which is the 90-day renewal notification. So there's an email that always goes out to the leadership team, to the director consultant, the vice president, secretary treasurer, and membership committee. This lets you know a list of members that are due for renewal in 90 days. The member gets one that happens 60 days before their renewal. It lets them know that you are now up for renewal. Would you like to renew now? Now, on that renewal notification, they do have the opportunity to opt out. Essentially, they're saying, no, I don't want to renew. In those cases, that's similar to a decline on the leadership team side. It doesn't automatically drop them. They can still stay for the rest of their term and everything, but it does send an email to the regional office, to the director consultant, and to the leadership team, the president, vice president, and secretary treasurer, letting them know that the member has said, no, I do not want to continue. So you can use this as a notification that the member will be dropping at the end of their term, or possibly to have a conversation with the member to ask them why they might be looking to not renew. And then finally, there's the member pre-approved email. So if you as a leadership team decide to pre-approve a member, they will get a notification saying, congratulations, you've been pre-approved. Would you like to do that renewal now? Now, during the online renewal process, there's 5 different emails that could potentially go out. The first one is when they have successfully submitted an application, the member receives a copy of their application via email. Then if they do an online payment at that point, when they enter their credit card in, they'll also get a separate email when the payment was successful, letting them know that that happened. If they choose to do an offline payment, if they choose to do a check, then once they hit submit, it will notify the regional office, the director consultant, and the leadership team that this person has sent a payment in, basically to be on the lookout for that payment. When a member has submitted a renewal, the director and the vice president, secretary, treasurer, and membership committee also are notified that an online renewal has been made. And finally, if they make changes to any of those specific details, such as their name, their company name, their category, or their product service description, they will notify the regional office, the director, the vice president, and the membership committee saying, you need to review these changes before approving the member. Now, if the member was pre-approved, you will still get this email. They will no longer be pre-approved if they make changes to any of these details. And finally, we have the after the online renewal. So when a renewal has been approved, an application has been approved, then the member gets an email saying, congratulations, you've been approved. If they haven't made a payment yet and they've been approved, they'll get another email saying, okay, you've been approved, please complete your payment. Once a renewal has been approved or declined, the regional office, the director consultant, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and membership committee all get an announcement about that renewal or declined application. This is the same information, just in a slightly different format, so you can look up your position here and figure out which emails you should be expecting during this process. And I will be sending this PowerPoint presentation along with a copy of this recorded webinar to your regional office, to Steve Elliott and to Kelly and Nate Dominguez, so they'll have a copy of this and they can share it with you and your chapters and regions accordingly. Questions? What questions do you have about the online renewal process? No questions. It's all crystal clear. All right, let's see. D. Jeffrey has a question. He says, are there any recommendations for how we should be tracking this information within the chapter? As far as which part of it, Jeffrey, as far as the who has submitted applications and who has needs to renew? The easiest way to track all that information is through the membership dues report. So again, going back to BNI Connect, the membership dues report. So if I go to reports chapter, membership dues, you guys also know that there's a customizable menu. So I can click on chapter here. I can put all my favorite reports here that I'd like to. And this is a customizable menu. So as part of this process, if I'm always going to be using the membership dues report, I might want to configure this. And let's see, membership dues report, I'm going to put that all the way up at the top of my list. And let's see, I probably want to do the view pending applications. I can save this. And now when I go back, my list should have the membership dues report right at the top. So if I click on the membership dues report, now I can better track who's up for renewal and who has pending renewals. And obviously people that have already renewed are going to be down towards the bottom of this list. So really that's kind of the best way to track this is through this membership dues report. Laura says, so far it seems very clear, but I'm sure questions will crop up when we implement them. There will always be questions, and somebody manages to do something very off the chart, so we are here to help and support you. Obviously, Steve Elliott is your local support person. He knows all about this process, and we are here to back you up and to back him up as well. Laura says, I didn't know we could customize that list. Brilliant. Yes, you can absolutely customize this list to make this be all your favorite BNI things so you don't have to go trolling through the various menu items. Just to quickly review, to take things off the list, just hit the X button, and that'll put it into the inactive list. And you can also do a search here. Let's say I just want to do view pending applications and check that off. So I just want those two things on my list. That's it. I click submit, and I close this, and now my list is just the membership dues report and view pending applications, and it will take me right to that part of the process. So hope that helps, Laura. Let's see, D. Jeffrey says, if we have a report that shows where people are, then why do we get all of these emails? The emails are to pretty much prompt you to the next part of the process. Not everybody, I know vice presidents, director consultants, to some extent secretary treasurers, you guys all log into the system fairly regularly. I know from my own standpoint, I'm logged into BNI Connect, 10 to 12 hours a day. But not everybody is always in front of a computer, so the email helps them to prompt them for the next part of the process in order to stay involved with it. So, and even with the things like the regional office may not always be in the reconcile application screen, so they can, knowing that a payment is on the way, puts them on alert to be on the lookout. So that was the reason behind a lot of these email notifications. Perhaps someday we'll have more of an internal notification system or something like that where we have alerts as opposed to emails. Who knows what the future has in store for us. So hopefully that answers your question, Jeffrey. Kelly and Steve, is there anything else that you would like to add? I don't think I have any other questions here in the list. All right, so just one last thing here. If you're looking for more information, here is other ways that you can stay in touch with us. You can see our support site, support.bniconnect.com. By the way, you can always hit the question mark here in BNI Connect as well. If I hit this question mark in the upper right-hand corner, that will take us to the support site. I'm on the testing system right now, so it didn't bring us there, but it would take us to support.bniconnect.com, hitting that question mark, and you can see our list of upcoming webinars and all of the documentation available, including all of the recorded webinars. I will have this in our recorded webinars very shortly. You can also check out our YouTube channel for tons of videos. Please do give us a like on Facebook. I would love that. Facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Follow us on Twitter, and of course you can email us at support@bniconnect.com. Donald says, declined apps, do we send them to the regional office? So what happens with declined applications here in BNI Connect is that they will be shown to the regional office. So Kelly, Steve, you do need to void those after you have reviewed the declined applications. But there's nothing that you need to do, Donald, on your side of things. It happens automatically. Kelly would like to reiterate that they are available if anybody needs help, as are we here in support, as is Steve. One final note from Steve. Chapter leaders, if you could, please do take some time to make sure that your members' email addresses are accurate in BNI Connect. All right. I don't think I see any other questions, so what I'm going to do is to thank everybody for being here today. Again, my name is Jeremy Walsh. I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. This webinar was recorded. I will be converting it and uploading it to YouTube on a shared link just as soon as possible, and I will get that over to Steve and to Kelly for distribution, along with the supporting PowerPoint. So hope everyone has an absolutely wonderful day, and happy holidays to everybody, and as always, happy connecting.